Welcome to Horse of the West, coming to you from one of the most popular reining shows around.
Awesome show.
The activities and the facility, the show pen.
It's really well organized, the grounds are great, and everybody's super friendly.
And the prizes are really nice. They do great prizes. Oh yeah, this is a great organization.
It just feels like family.
$120,000 in added money, a derby, a red shirt futurity, a teen tournament, and a rookie shootout.
Give us a chance to have the spotlight and win some great prizes.
It's the Great Western Reining Horse Association Best Little Derby in the West.
You try saying this 5 times fast.
Coming up on Your Horse Inside and Out, sponsored by Behringer Ingelheim, we're going to talk about stallion exercise.
Plus, NRHA professional Matt McDowell shares a training secret to help your horse in the turnaround. That's all coming up in this episode of Horse of the West. Welcome to the Ford Idaho Center in Nampa, Idaho, home of 2 Great Western Reining Horse Association events, the Low Roller Reining Classic and the Best Little Derby in the West.
As soon as we got into reining, my husband and I started coming out here to this show, and it's always been our favorite show. We always come to Napa, to Best Little, or to the Low Roller. It's just really well organized, the grounds are great, and everybody's super friendly, helpful in the office. It's our favorite place to come show.
Missy McAllister used to do hunter jumper, but then she made the jump to reining about 5 years ago.
I love the camaraderie of the different teams. I ride with Matt McDowell's team, and there's a lot of people on the team. And then I just love the difficulty of it, and it's super hard. But you just got to keep going, and pretty soon, if you get with the right horse, it's extra fun.
And there is plenty of camaraderie here at the Best Little Derby in the West, with parties and auctions and special activities for the kids.
We have 30 horses here at the show. All our clients love to come to the show. It's a family-oriented show, and we're very proud to be a part of it.
The activities and the facility, the show pen, obviously the ground is always good, and we love coming up here.
They call it the Best Little Derby in the West, and it was in the early days, but it has grown dramatically. It now includes not just the Derby, but a red shirt futurity for 4-year-old horses and the rookie shootout.
Having the rookie event is a great way to, showcase the little people a little bit and give us a chance to have the spotlight and win some great prizes. And George does such a great job at this show, so it's been cool.
Whitney Heroes of West Lynn, Oregon finishes 3rd in the rookie shootout on a Magnum of Magic by NRHA $6 million sire Magnum Chick Dream. She is back in the show pen after a long hiatus.
Well, I showed as a youth, and then I took about a 22-year break, just a short break, and then I got back into it about 4 years ago. So I don't know how many years that adds up to, but
winning the reserve rookie shootout title with a 2:13.5 is Amy Farley of Westbrook, Washington on Wing and a Prayer by Trashadeus. Amy made it her goal 5 years ago to make this rookie shootout, and she did on a new horse.
That's been my highest score on him ever, so it was very exciting. It started out, I was definitely a little nervous because spins are definitely a challenge, but we got through them, and the rest was just pitch him out there and go, because he just is such a good boy who just loves his circles and he loves to stop. So the rest was pretty easy breezy.
And champion of the Best Little Derby in the West rookie shootout is Kendall Wiggin of Joseph, Oregon, riding I'm Not Rough or Troubled by Not Rough at All.
He's really good. He's definitely got a personality and a mind of his own. He's been really good for the month that I've had him. It's really awesome. It's a lot of fun to be able to come do this with others.
The non-pro division in the NRHA is for riders who don't get paid to train on horses they or their families own. Jenna Kelmer's the wife of NRHA professional Kyle Kelmer. They run a tack shop in Battleground, Washington. Jenna is riding Babies Steppin' Out by NRHA $12 million sire and Hall of Fame member Wimpy's Little Step. They're going to start us off with a 2:14. From Pine Grove, California is Jennifer Gilliam, who's on a mare that's new to her, H.A. Mobster's Tears by H.F. Mobster. Jennifer's happy with how they did, earning a 2:15 from the judges.
I just need to get her in better shape. She was dying and so was I. she's a little lazy mare, but she's not really in that good a shape, so I could feel that. So I just need to get her home and kind of put some more stuff together and just leg her up a little better.
Paige Barton of Oakdale, California is also getting to know her horse, Sweet Special Night by NRHA $4 million sire Gunner's Special Night. They've only shown a couple of times, so how did he do?
Perfect. He's amazing. He is 5 with very, very limited showing, and he's a stud, so he is even more quiet than I could ever expect him to be. Super honest, wants to please. He's a ham, as you can tell. He's perfect.
Paige and Sweet Special Night take the lead with a 2:16.5. Rachel Eady of Sisters, Oregon will slide into third with a 2:14.5 on a son of Smart and Shiny named Quality Shines, aka Baby Horse.
He's perfect. He's very easy to get along with, and he's super, super kind and very, very sweet. It was the same at every run. He just did his job, and he's so good-minded and so kind-hearted that he just took care of both of us.
Stacy Hamilton earns a 2:14 to tie Jenna Kelmer, and Baby's stepping out for 4th place on Whizzin' the Dream.
She is a 5-year-old mare by Magnum Chick Dream, and out of a Wizard Jack mare that I raised. She is a wonderful little mare, big heart, big try, and was really good for me today.
There are 4 earnings levels in each division, and currently Paige, Barton, and Sweet Special Night are leading all 4 with that 2:16.5. But 12-year-old Emma Hillis of Sandy, Oregon earns the same score on Revolutionary Spooks by NRHA $2 million sire Spooks Got a Gun.
He's kind of a dork. He's kind of one of the barn favorites.
Emma and Spooks are entered in levels 1 and 2, so she splits those championships with Paige. Missy McAllister and Extra Voodoo Shine by NRHA $1 million sire Shiner's Voodoo Doctor earn a 2:16 to finish third in levels 1 and 2. Coming up, the Open at the Best Little Derby in the West, plus the importance of exercise for breeding stallions in Your Horse Inside and Out with Dr. Joe Carter, sponsored by Boehringer Ingelheim. And later we'll head to the training pen for a drill that will help your horse in the turnaround. Be right back. Welcome back to Horse of the West from the Ford Idaho Center in Nampa. It's the Great Western Reining Horse Association Best Little Derby in the West. The Open division is for professional trainers, and up first is Jackson Porth of Falls, Idaho. Jackson's riding Gonna Be Expensive by NRHA $4 million sire Gonna Trasha out of Whizzin' Starlight, a mare Jackson himself showed. Mother and son are both owned by Jackson and his wife Stephanie.
You know, you're comparing them to their mother, and you're comparing your own training program. Is it gotten better? Has it gotten worse? Where are we at? Crossing her on different studs, you really get a good idea of how much stud power makes a difference and stuff like that.
Jackson Porth earns a 2:16.5 despite a lead penalty. David Hanson of Clements, California is riding Ann Driscoll's 6-year-old gelding Extra Needs a Drink by Wimpy Needs a Cocktail. They haven't been together too long, but they're already having some success, and David thinks there is more to come.
He felt good. I'm trying to, figure out all the maneuvers kind of at a higher level on him. There's more turn in there. I think that's going to make him even more competitive, but he's really fun to show, very good-minded, very talented, really fun to circle.
David Hanson takes the lead on Extra Needs a Drink with a 2:18 from the judges. Nicole Renick of Arlington, Washington won the Derby last fall at the Low Roller Reining Classic on this 6-year-old stud. This is Face Chicks Love by NRHA $2 million sire Paleface Dunnett and owned by Whitney Peterson. Nicole says the stallion had a stumble here in Nampa that may have cost him some points.
Not real sure what they did on that as far as maneuver-wise, but we tripped pretty bad. But as far as that, I couldn't have been happier. I think he felt better actually this time than last in October, so just a little bobble, but it's horse showing.
Nicole and Face Chicks Love still earn a 2:19, which will move them into the lead. Martine Padilla of Wilton, California is riding Lana's Little Joe by NRHA $1 million sire Little Joe Cash. Martine's been riding the 5-year-old owned by Holly Valerio for a couple of months now, but says he already feels very in sync.
One of those runs that you go, nothing went wrong. I mean, everything else is smooth. It was aggressive, but nothing that was out of control. It was just right there. And I mean, every stride, he just stayed with me every stride. I mean, big, strong maneuvers, but he was always right there with a lot of finesse. So, you can't ask for any better than that.
How about a score of 2:20.5 for Martine Padilla and Lana's Little Joe, which will move them past Nicole Renick by 1.5 points and give them the lead. But Nicole is back now on Chicks in the Mob, who's usually a non-pro horse for owner Lacey Swanberg. After Lacey's 7th place finish in the Non-Pro Derby Level 1, Nicole asked if she could give the mare a spin in the Open just to see how she does.
It's not something I guess I feel like I'm really, like an open horse that I'm really training on all year long and competing big time on. So I feel a little less pressure, just kind of more like let's go out here, have some fun and see what happens.
Turned out pretty well. The judges marked them a 220, which will put Nicole in 2nd on Chicks in the Mob by half a point and in 3rd with a 219 on Face Chicks Love. So the score to beat is the 220.5 of Martin Padilla and Lana's Little Joe. Matt McDowell of Enterprise, Oregon will take a shot at that lead on Alicia Irwin's ICHABOD X by NRHA $12 million sire and Hall of Fame member Topsail Whiz. Matt and the 7-year-old gelding earned the 2020 North American Affiliate Novice Horse Open Level 1 Championship in Oklahoma City last year with a score of 219.
He didn't get started till real late, and he came to me, and he's really a quirky horse. He's always playing around. He doesn't want to focus too good. He's kind of hard to train, but when he walks out in the show pen, he always seems to give it to you.
Here in Nampa, Matt and ICHABOD X will not take the lead, but they will best their score from OKC by half a point and end up 3rd. The reserve championship goes to Nicole Renick on Ward Whitney Peterson's non-pro horse Chicks in the Mob. And the 2021 Best Little Derby in the West Championships in Level 4, 3, and 2 go to Martin Padilla and Holly Balerio's Lana's Little Joe. Just makes Martine love this show even more.
Every year it just gets better and better. I mean, they're adding more money. The stalls get better. I mean, the way that they manage the show, and it's just good. How they run the show is really, really good.
The Level 1 Best Little Derby Open Championship goes to David Hanson and Ann Driscoll's Extra Needs a Drink. When we come back, Matt McDowell shares a drill to help your horse in the turnaround. Be right back with Training Secrets.
Your Horse Inside and Out with Dr. Joe Carter, sponsored by Boehringer Ingelheim.
A question that I get frequently is what kind of exercise and how much exercise, the type of exercise, stallion owners should provide for their stallions. And so stallions need exercise. They need a regular amount of exercise. You don't want them to lose their conditioning musculoskeletally or cardiovascularly. You'll see some stallions start to develop some kind of soreness or lameness type issues from the actual act of breeding. When they're having to mount a dummy, they're actually at a different angle using muscles, joints in a way they're not accustomed to. They will start to develop sometimes hock and stifle soreness issues. And so if you start to see a stallion that's getting reluctant to breed, reluctant to mount a mare or a dummy, or increasing the number of attempts that it takes to get them collected or to breed a mare, I would have your veterinarian, examine their musculoskeletal system to decide if they need high visc, like a joint lubricant to help those joints function more properly and with less pain or soreness or inflammation. And high visc and the joint lubricants do nothing to the sperm quality, so there's no reason not to use those in the breeding season when a horse is actually being bred. And so the types of exercise we'd like to see stallions get, turnout in paddocks is always good. That's kind of the go-to. Going on the walker, exerciser, in a round pen, lunging. All of these types of exercises, the normal kinds of exercises that you would do. Even riding is good. A lot of the thoroughbred race places have galloping tracks where they'll gallop them a mile or two. Are all normal types of exercises we see with stallions. And I'm Dr. Joe Carter with Your Horse Inside and Out.
Your Horse Inside and Out is sponsored by Boehringer Ingelheim. Before making any decisions about your horse's health, be sure to contact your veterinarian.
From the Training Secrets Vault, here's Matt McDowell.
Okay, I want to start out by showing you the importance of hip control in the turnaround so the horse is using its correct hip and not ever letting the horse start out learning the wrong position in a turnaround. So we'll start with that. I'm just going to show you what I do to start my 2-year-olds and how to teach them, and then we'll go on and how to build speed and correctness. When I'm teaching the 2-year-olds to turn, the most important thing I want to get is that they use that hip. So before I ever start teaching a horse to turn, I'm going to teach them how to I don't do it till I have a lot of hip control. hip placement on the turn is more important than the front feet movement. So I'm going to start with that, pushing the hip up underneath him and show you how to do that. When you push the hip up underneath, it comes into play in your turnaround and your lead changes in your lead departures. I want my horse to push his hip around without having to hold on to my horse. See how this horse here is pushing his hip around, but I'm not having to hold real hard to stop his forward motion. So once very first at the beginning of their 2-year-old yield, I want to get this hip. As soon as I feel this hip lead, I'm going to let them take a step and turn. As soon as they take a step, I'm going to push that hip right back into position. I want that always before and after the turn, that hip to go back to the inside. So first few months, I might not even get a whole turnaround. I want to feel if that hip stays in position on the turn. Here, that hip stayed in. I'm going to let him make a couple steps, and then I'm going to push his hip back to the inside and make sure that before and after he keeps that hip engaged. So now I'll do it again. I want to hip the inside. If his shoulder moves to the inside and starts to fall in, I can use my inside hand to move his shoulder out, lift the inside shoulder, put the hip to the inside, let him turn. Push the hip back in, let him walk out. Everybody trots their horse out of the turn and walks their horse out of the turn. The difference that I use is I like to two-track my horse out of the turn at the walk or the trot. So after the turn, I want them to make sure they're going the same direction as they were when they turned. So if I'm going to the right, I'm going to push the hip, turn to the right. Whether I go a full revolution or two, I'm going to push and make my horse two-track, get back in that frame to the right, okay? Same with the other side. So I push my hip to the left, wait till his hip's correct, turn him to the left, push him out to the left, okay? A lot of people talk about that inside foot, getting that inside foot to come back. If you notice what this does when you put a horse in a curl, this inside foot automatically is in the back position. See how it's back and the horse's hip is underneath? It makes that first step real clean. They can go right over the top with that first step. I'm not one that I'm going to use the inside rein. I don't like to put a lot of bend on my horses. I like to turn them straight. Don't get me wrong, you want that horse soft to the inside, but I don't want that horse to be looking and overbent. I feel if you overbend your 2-year-olds, what that does is it pushes the hip to the outside. You can see how that horse kind of rocked his hip to the outside. I like to keep them straight. I only want to see just a shade of that inside eye in the turnaround, and I use that outside rein to make them turn and to go, okay, for your speed. So I'm going to go there and I'm going to show you how I start to build that speed just a little bit. So after my 2-year-old's confidence, I don't like to have to hold on to my horse in the turn, first of all. I don't like to start my horse in the turn like this and have to hold on to him. I want them to have their own little motor and just turn. See how I'm not having to hold on to this horse? Okay, he's just turning. I don't want my horse to walk out if I put my leg on him. I want him to know that he can just turn, okay, and push the hip out and not ever have too much forward motion, okay? You see a lot where most people, they're gonna lift this inside shoulder during the turn, okay? During the turn, they're gonna try to bump this up as they turn. To me, I don't really like that. I like to lift the shoulder before the turn, and lift the shoulder after the turn. Shoulder up, hip in. Okay? I think it's real important. If you let a horse start the turnaround program and get onto the outside pivot foot or push into your outside leg, it's a hard thing to fix. Later on, you'll have to come back and spend months of getting them to correctly jump onto the right foot. So I never let them from day one ever get into your leg or onto the outside pivot foot, their weight to the outside. So if you do this and you're just patient for the first month or two, you'll be surprised how these horses start turning sooner and without any pressure.
When we come back, the kids at the Best Little Derby in the West have a thank you they want to say, or at least try to say. And riders say thanks to some folks whose behind-the-scenes work is often overlooked. Don't write off. Welcome back to Horse of the West and coverage of the best little derby in the West from Nampa, Idaho. Meet the 10 and under short stirrup champion Paityn Dilworth of Junction City, Oregon, and Chuck, aka Oak's Electric Gun by Colonel's Little Gun. Youth 13 and under champions are Emma Hillis of Sandy, Oregon, and Star Spangled Solano. And Youth 14 to 18 champions Kylie Robinson of Potlatch, Idaho, and XTRA See a Doctor. They all want to say a big thank you to the show crew here in Nampa.
The Great Western Reining Horse Association does such a good job with the prizes and including everyone and everything, so there's always great prizes. I always love coming down here because it's kind of close to home and it just feels like family.
There's so many arenas and it's super nice just to go around, and there's trail, you can go on a trail ride, and it's just super nice.
The winning team from the Best Little Derby in the West Youth Team Tournament would also like to say thanks to the Great Western Reining Horse Association, or try anyway.
1, 2, 3.
Thank you, Great Western Reining Horse Association.
No. You gotta be more energy.
It's a mouthful.
More energy.
You try saying this 5 times fast.
No, that's why I'm over here. We'll do it one more time. Ready? Excitement. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you, Great Western Reining Horse Association.
But the riders had no trouble giving a shout out to the crew that has kept the ground perfect for them all week.
They're a great bunch of guys. I mean, they take a lot of passion in their work, and I don't think enough people tell them how hard they work and recognize the grounds crew, the tractor crew, these guys that are putting it on, because they're behind the scenes.
They do a great job of putting it on, the groundskeepers. They all do a great job maintaining, footing and keeping everything going right for us.
Thanks to all the unsung footing crews out there who keep things fast and safe for reiners around the world all year long. Be watching in the weeks ahead for coverage of the Better Barrel Races World Finals and the National Reining Horse Association Derby, both from State Fair Park in Oklahoma City. Find more content on YouTube at Horse of the West, and be sure to subscribe. I'm Jennifer Reynolds. We'll see you next time.